Want to fix low desire after 60? This video gives you exactly what you need to feel like you're 25 again, naturally, confidently, and without pills. You know, most men don't talk about it. They don't tell their friends. They don't mention it to their partners. Sometimes they don't even admit it to themselves. But I hear it in my office almost every week. Doctor, I still want it, but it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Not broken, not sick, just different. And here's the truth most people don't want to say out loud. This change, this slow, quiet shift, happens to nearly every man after 60. It's not dramatic. It doesn't come with alarms or warning signs. But one day you notice it. Touch feels duller. Desire feels distant. The spark you once had, it's harder to find. And most men? They assume it's just part of getting older. They blame age or hormones, or say, maybe I've just lost it. But what if they haven't? What if that quiet shift wasn't about aging at all? What if it was about the habits that slipped in over the years? The ways you've learned to chase pleasure without really feeling it? The postures you've sat in for too long? The screens you've stared at? The speed you've moved through life, especially in private? What if it wasn't you losing your fire, but your body slowly forgetting how to feel it? I'm Dr. Morgan. I've spent decades helping men over 60 reconnect with their bodies, their energy, and their confidence. And in this video, I want to talk about something most doctors never do. The 6 hidden habits that could be quietly draining your vitality, and how to reclaim what's still yours. Because it's not too late. Not even close. Let's begin. He told me, Doc, I've been doing it the same way for decades. But lately, something feels off. He wasn't in pain. He wasn't sick. He just knew deep down that something had shifted. And the truth is, he was right. For men over 60, the body doesn't send loud warnings. It whispers. A small change in how you feel. A slower response. A sense that what once came naturally now feels distant or dull. Most men ignore it. They chalk it up to aging. Or worse, they blame themselves. Maybe I'm just past my prime. Maybe this is just what happens now. But here's what no one tells you. It's not that your desire disappears with age. It's that your old routine no longer fits the man you've become. You see, what once worked on autopilot now needs your attention. Not because something's wrong with you, but because your body is evolving. And your habits have to evolve with it. When you keep repeating what used to work without listening to the changes, that's when routine turns into resistance. And connection becomes harder to find. So in this video, I'm going to show you 6 common habits that might be silently draining your vitality. Not because you're doing them on purpose, but because no one ever taught you how to adjust when the seasons of your body change. And if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. And you're not too late. Let's start from the beginning. He sat in front of me, eyes tired. And he said something I've heard more times than I can count. Doc, I don't feel anything like I used to. It's like my body's gone quiet. Not broken. Not numb. Disconnected. And the real problem wasn't what he was doing. It was what he had stopped doing. He had stopped listening. You see, as we age, the signals our bodies send become softer. Less urgent. More subtle. But when you stop paying attention to those signals, even the strongest instincts start to fade. You move through routines without presence. You touch without truly feeling. You finish without remembering how you even started. And slowly your body learns. It learns that it doesn't need to speak. It learns that no one is listening. The result? Less energy, less sensation, less connection. Not because of age, but because you've skipped the pause. That moment when you slow down. When you breathe. When you feel. The pause is where your nervous system resets. It's where your hormones balance. It's where real pleasure begins. Without it, every experience becomes mechanical. Shallow. Forgettable. But with it, everything changes. Your body wakes up. Your heart gets involved. Your mind quiets. If you've been moving too fast for too long, it's not too late to return. Start by taking that pause. Just a moment to breathe. And to listen again. He looked down and said quietly, I know it sounds strange, but the bathroom has become the only place I feel undisturbed. And he's not alone. I've heard it from countless men in their 60s and 70s. It's private. It's familiar. It's the one door that locks. But what feels safe can sometimes be what's silently wearing you down. Let's be honest. When life gets noisy, when people need things from you, when the world expects you to be strong all the time, a small closed room becomes a kind of escape. You shut the door, sit down, and finally you're alone. No questions. No pressure. Just a few minutes to yourself. But here's what most men never think about. Where you go to find relief affects how your body responds. And when you repeat the same environment over and over, your nervous system begins to associate privacy with pressure. Your body starts tightening instead of relaxing. And without even realizing it, you start to feel less. Physically, that small space, especially the bathroom, works against you. You're seated, usually hunched forward. Your legs are pressing into your hips. Your lower back curls. And your pelvic floor, one of the most critical areas for blood flow and sensation, gets compressed. What does that mean? Reduced circulation. Strain on your prostate. Tension where there should be ease. And over time, a slow, creeping decline in how your body performs and recovers. I've seen men blame their fatigue on age, their dribbling on hormones, their numbness on stress. But when we change the where, we start to see a difference in the how. Because the body needs space to breathe. The nervous system needs freedom to unwind. And your senses need light, openness, and oxygen to stay alert. Ask yourself this. Have you turned privacy into confinement? Have you trained your body to only feel behind a locked door, in a cramped corner, seated and rushed? What started as protection has now become limitation. And that limitation affects your confidence, your pleasure, your function, in ways you never linked together. Now here's what you can do. Try changing the setting. Use a room where you feel calm but free. Avoid tight spaces that signal tension to your nervous system. Open a window. Let natural light in. Lie back instead of hunching forward. Support your body instead of compressing it. You may think these little changes don't matter, but your body notices everything. It remembers posture. It records pressure. It reacts to stress, even the stress you no longer feel consciously. The wrong kind of privacy doesn't just block out others. It slowly shuts you off from yourself. And the goal is not to abandon your need for personal space. It's to upgrade it. To turn privacy into presence. To give yourself a space that doesn't just hide you from the world, but welcomes you back to your body. This is your time. You've earned peace, not pressure. You deserve comfort, not collapse. Because if you're going to reconnect with the part of yourself that still wants to feel alive, you need an environment that supports that aliveness. So take a look around. Is the space you've chosen helping your body open up, or quietly teaching it to shut down? You already know the answer, and you already know what to do. He said it with a straight face, almost casually. Honestly, Doc, I'd just get it over with. I don't have time to make a whole thing out of it. And in those few words, he revealed something so many men carry without realizing. Speed has replaced presence. And somewhere along the way, depth got lost. I get it. Life trains us to move fast. Solve problems, hit the mark, check the box, move on. It's how you survived careers, deadlines, families, pressure. But pleasure isn't built for speed. And your body knows it. When you're in your 20s, maybe you can rush and still feel something. But after 60, your nervous system changes. It requires more time to transition from doing to being, from tension to connection, and from stimulation to sensation. Without that shift, you short-circuit the very experience you're chasing. You trigger a stress response instead of a release response. Your muscles tighten. Your breathing shortens. Your blood vessels narrow instead of opening. So what happens next? You finish, but you don't feel satisfied. You feel depleted, not relaxed. And you think, maybe I'm just getting old. But it's not age. It's the habit of rushing. When you rush through something that's meant to restore you, you cheat your own system. The dopamine never gets to fully release. The oxytocin, the chemical that builds trust and calm, doesn't get a chance to rise. And serotonin, which regulates your mood, doesn't stick around long enough to lift you. You end up feeling flat. Or worse, detached. And over time, your body starts to expect less. It adapts to a lower standard of sensation. Your nervous system literally trains itself to feel less. That's the danger of speed. It doesn't just end the moment quickly. It teaches your body that connection isn't worth waiting for. I've spoken to men who say, I just want to get in, get out, and move on. But underneath that urgency is often something deeper. Fear of wasting time. Fear of being caught. Or sometimes, just years of never being allowed to enjoy it fully. We rush what we think we don't deserve to feel. But here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need more intention. You can turn 5 minutes into something healing. If you're fully there. If you're breathing. If you're letting your body speak instead of forcing it to perform. There's no gold medal for finishing fast. There's no pride in rushing through something that was meant to bring you back to yourself. In fact, the faster you move, the more likely you are to miss the one thing your body still craves: depth. Real sensation isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It waits. It waits for you to slow down, to soften, to arrive. You want to feel like a man again? Don't grip tighter. Don't move faster. Do the opposite. Breathe. Feel the weight of your body. Notice your skin. Notice the parts of you that are still alive, still awake, still capable of feeling. Slowness is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's what your body has been asking for all along. You didn't lose the spark. You just stopped giving it oxygen. And when you begin to slow down, really slow down, you'll notice something surprising. You don't just feel more. You feel stronger, more connected, more grounded. Pleasure stops being something you chase. It becomes something that finds you when you're finally present enough to receive it. He looked at me, paused, then said, "Sometimes it just feels like I'm going through the motions. No emotion. No connection. just a mechanical habit that used to mean something. That feeling, like your own touch doesn't belong to you anymore, that's what I call the disconnected touch. It happens slowly. At first, everything feels normal. The routine is familiar. The outcome predictable. But then, something shifts. It starts to feel empty. Your hand moves, but your mind isn't there. Your body responds, but your heart doesn't join in. And before long, even pleasure becomes something you can't quite reach. You see, touch is more than physical. It's communication. It's memory. It's trust. And when you disconnect from that, even just a little, your body notices. It begins to protect itself, numbing down, withholding sensation, guarding against vulnerability, even when you're alone. I've spoken to men who tell me, I still go through the act, but I don't feel like I used to. And often, they think it's a problem with performance. But what's really happening is much deeper. They've disconnected from their own presence. And in doing so, they've trained their bodies to respond to pressure, not to care. To repetition, not to curiosity. To expectation, not to intimacy. Disconnected touch isn't just about technique. It's about forgetting that your body is still worthy of kindness, still deserving of exploration, still capable of giving and receiving something real. When you touch your body like it's a machine, it starts to act like one. Cold, predictable, shut down. But when you bring presence back into the moment, when you pause, breathe, and return to sensation, you remind your nervous system that this is more than function. It's connection. And that connection can be simple. The warmth of your hand, the rhythm of your breath, the softness of your own attention. That's how you rebuild the bridge. Not by forcing more, but by feeling more. By remembering that this body you carry isn't past its prime. It's just been waiting for you to return. To slow down. To listen. To care. Because true pleasure is not about how much you do. It's about how deeply you feel. And no technique, no pill, no fantasy can replace the healing power of intentional touch. This is your body. Still alive. Still wired for sensation. Still craving connection. Not just with others, but with yourself. So ask yourself, when was the last time you touched your body not to fix it, but to thank it? Not to rush it, but to reconnect? You haven't lost your ability to feel. You've just been too disconnected to notice. But the good news is that connection is waiting, right beneath the surface. And it starts with one honest, gentle touch. Let me tell you something I've seen over and over again. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, walking into my office with the same quiet question. Is it too late for me? They don't say it out loud, but it's in their eyes. In the way they talk about the past like it's the only place they ever felt alive. In the way they describe their body like it's something that's slipping away. And every time I tell them the same thing. No, it's not too late. You haven't missed your moment. You've just been waiting for a new way to meet it. The truth is, the spark isn't gone. It's buried. Under years of habit. Under the weight of old expectations. Under the silence we've all been taught to keep when it comes to male aging and intimacy. No one ever told you how to care for your sexual health after 60. They told you how to survive. How to work hard. How to toughen up. But they never taught you how to feel again. How to listen to your body with patience. How to honor the changes, not fight them. And how to stop treating pleasure like a performance and start seeing it as presence. You don't have to go back to how things were. Because truthfully, you're not who you were. You've lived. You've endured. You've gained wisdom that your younger self never had. Now it's time to let that wisdom guide your body back to life. Start by paying attention to breath, to tension, to what your body is asking for, not what you're demanding from it. Let go of the old scoreboard. How long, how strong, how often. That's not the measure anymore. The real question now is, did it nourish you? Did it connect you? Did it make you feel alive again? Reclaiming the spark isn't about becoming someone you used to be. It's about becoming someone you've never allowed yourself to be. Calm, curious, present, kind to yourself, willing to feel, not just function. Because the spark isn't found in pressure or performance. It's found in the quiet moments when you say to yourself, I'm still here, I still matter, my body still deserves care. This next chapter isn't about decline. It's about refinement. It's about returning to the parts of you that were always there, just waiting for attention. So if you've been feeling like your body has changed, you're right. It has. But change isn't failure. It's an invitation to explore, to reconnect, to remember that the fire never really left. It just needed you to slow down enough to feel it again. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're right on time. And the spark? It's still there, waiting for you to come home to yourself.